Welcome, my dear students. So excited to meet you again in another episode of our program for English language for first prep under the supervision of the Ministry of Education. أهلا بكم أعزائي الطلبة في حلقة جديدة من حلقات برنامجنا للغة الإنجليزية للصف الأول الإعدادي تحت رعاية وإشراف وزارة التربية والتعليم. Today we are going to complete Unit 11 on land and sea على الأرض وعلى البحر. We have said in the previous session that in this unit we are going to talk about different things related to water and land. هنتكلم على حاجات كتير تخص ال water life أو الحياة في المية وال land like the nature reserves. طيب in the previous session we talked about the if condition and we explained the zero type أو the zero condition and how can we can use it in a sentence. We talked about different types of aquatic creatures and we read a text about the disadvantages of plastic and how it can be very harmful to our planet. Today we are going to complete Unit 11 explaining the using of modal verbs must, who mustn't, should, shouldn't, and we will be able to differentiate between them, and we are going to take a leaflet and we will know what is the meaning of the word leaflet, about how we can plant a tree, and we will know how to give instructions and to reply these instructions. تمام؟ Okay, let's start. We'll start our episode today by the grammar part. And we have today the modal verbs must, mustn't, should, and shouldn't. To use the modal verb must, we use it in the necessity. يعني إيه necessity؟ يعني الضرورة. يعني when I want to say that something is obligatory to do. يعني في حاجة حتمية لازم تحصل. When I say you must do your homework, it means that it's not an optional. هو مش حاجة خيارية. It's a necessary action you have to do. دي حاجة لازمة ومحتمة. يبقى must بتدينا necessity when I am obliged to do something. يعني لما أكون مجبر على عمل شيء معين. طيب mustn't النيجاتيف. when is a necessity لما بيكون في ضرورة وحتمية but not to do something. إن أنت ما تعملش شيء. تمام؟ دي must و mustn't. طيب should and shouldn't. Should and shouldn't not giving me the necessity. It gives me that something is advisable. يعني أو something is it's something good to do something. يعني حاجة كويسة إن حضرتك تعملها. You should. يفضل إن أنت تعملها. أوكي؟ هي ما فيهاش النسيسيتي أو الحتمية في must أو mustn't. أنا بقول لك you should يعني it's better to do it. It's advisable to do it when I give you an advice. لما بدي لحضرتك نصيحة. تمام؟ أوكي. طيب shouldn't برضو to give you an advice but not to do something. It's better not to do this action or not to be in this situation. تمام؟ Okay, let's answer بقى the question to check our understanding. Complete the sentences with must, mustn't or should or shouldn't. احنا قلنا must يعني يجب. It's necessity. في هنا في إلزام. يعني حاجة ضرورة. لكن should بتدينا إيه؟ بتدينا يعني الاستحسان. أنا بفضل إن حضرتك تعمل كذا. أوكي؟ When I'm giving you advice. طيب أول حاجة عندنا هنا stop. Hey, look at the sign in front of us. Stop. يبقى you have to respect the rule. You have to respect the sign. You have to respect the rule and to stop. يبقى you must. أنت لازم. تمام؟ أوكي. بعد كده there is a good view. يعني there is a good opinion. A good view يعني a good scene. في منظر كويس. There is a good view of the lake from here. في منظر رائع هنا للليك. You take a photo. you take a photo. المفروض أديك هنا النسيسيتي، أنا بتكلم you must ولا you should؟ you should. يبقى من المفضل to take a photo. طيب you space wear shoes, you space take them off. يبقى look at the picture in front of us. هنا في cross على الشوز، يبقى ايه؟ It's not allowed to wear your shoes here. مش مسموح ان انت تلبس الشوز، يبقى you mustn't wear shoes here. You must take them off. انت يجب ان تخلعهم. Number 4, you space walk in the mountains when the weather is bad. It's dangerous. يبقى ايه؟ It's your choice, but it's dangerous to walk. يبقى you shouldn't. يعني مش من الجيد ان حضرتك تمشي في mountains when the weather is bad. You space walk on the grass. Hey. Look at the sign or look at the picture in front. Don't walk on the grass. It's an order. Don't walk on the grass. يبقى ايه؟ Excellent. You mustn't walk on the grass. حضرتك ما يجبش ان انت تمشي على العشب. طيب بعد كده you space walk and write a text at the same time. You space look where you are going. Hey. You excellent. You shouldn't walk and write a text in the same time. حضرتك ما ينفعش تمشي وتعمل texting at the same time. ليه؟ You بالظبط should look where you are going. You have to look where you are going. حضرتك المفروض تعرف انت رايح فين وتبص قدامك. تمام؟ اوكي. What problems can you see in the pictures? Make sentences with must or mustn't. Here we have some bad attitudes or some bad behaviors from the children in the nature resort. طيب let's بقى make some sentences using mustn't or must. They mustn't leave the road. They mustn't walk on the grass. They mustn't leave the road. They have to walk on the road. لازم يمشوا على الطريق. يبقى you mustn't leave the road. ما ينفعش تسيب الطريق. They mustn't make a lot of noise. You mustn't make a lot of noise. يعني you have to be silent. You have to be quiet. لازم ويجب ان انت تبقى هادي. They mustn't play games. Of course, here in the nature resort, you can make a lot of noise for the animals in the nature resort. So you have to be quiet. You have to stick with the rules, and you mustn't play games. They mustn't give food to the birds. طبعا you mustn't give food to the birds. ما ينفعش ندي food للبيردز especially في النيتشر ريزورت because انت كده بتعودهم they can take the food from you and not search for their food. مش هيقدروا يبحثوا عن طعامهم بعد كده. They must work together. They must work together as a teamwork. هم لازم يشتغلوا مع بعض. تمام؟ اوكي. They must take the rubbish home. I can see here a child is doing what? He is throwing the paper or the rubbish in the garden. This is incorrect. They must take the rubbish home. المفروض ياخدوا الرابش معاهم. طيب look at this بقى. Here we are going to move to the reading part and the listening part, and here we are going to talk about a day in the nature resort. What is the meaning of nature resort? It's a place or an area in which the government or the people in authority can keep the animals and plants in this area to save them, to protect them. محمية. Okay? تمام. Teacher, we are going to visit this nature reserve today. We have nature reserves to help our birds. Okay? Plants and animals, many important birds, animals, and plants live here, so we must be careful what we do. Okay. يبقى هنا التيتشر بيقول ان احنا النهارده هنروح للنيتشر ريزيرف. طيب we have nature reserves to help our birds, planets and animals. احنا عملنا النيتشر ريزيرفز دي او المحميات دي ليه؟ to keep them safe, to protect them. Many important birds, animals and plants live here, so we must be careful what we do. احنا لازم ناخد بالنا from our behavior, from our attitudes. تمام؟ احنا لازم نبقى decent enough inside this place to keep them safe عشان نحافظ على سلامة الانيمالز والبيردز اللي عندنا. First بقى, you mustn't make a lot of noise. Hey, you have to be quiet. You mustn't make a lot of noise. You will frighten the animals and birds. هترعب الانيمالز والبيردز اللي موجودين في النيتشر ريزيرف. The animals and birds live in the plants next to the road and you don't want to walk into their homes. عشان كده احنا قلنا you have to stick with the road. You have to walk on the road. لازم تمشي على الطريق المخصص ليك because in the grass or in the plants you will find a lot of the homes of the birds or the animals. هتلاقي الهومز بتاعت الانيمالز والبيردز وطبعا حضرتك ما تحبش ان انت to walk on it او تمشي عليها. Now I know we are going to have a picnic lunch later, but you mustn't give any food to the animals or birds. اهو احنا عارفين ان احنا you will take a picnic lunch later. هناخد وقت عشان نعمل فيه picnic lunch, but you mustn't give any food to the animals. غير مسموح ان حضرتك to give food for the animals or the birds. They must find their own food. They mustn't think that all their food will come from you. لازم ما يتعودوش أو they mustn't think that all the food can come from the visitors or from the people. يعني يعتمدوا على نفسهم in finding their own food. Next, you must take all your rubbish with you. When you leave, some animals think that plastic is food, but they mustn't eat it. It is very bad for them. next step بعد كده you must take all your rubbish with you. حضرتك لو معاك أي left over, أي قمامة, أي حاجات remains متبقية, you have to take them with you. هتاخدها معاك when you leave. Because some animals think that plastic is food. Can think that plastic, المنتجات البلاستيكية is food and they ate it. ولما بياكلوا they ممكن they can harm them. But they mustn't eat it. مش ما ينفعش ياكلوه. It's very bad for them. Finally, you must remember to work together and write what you see. You can write about your visit to the reserve for the project. Okay. يبقى وأخيرا you must remember to work together. You have to cooperate, تتعاون أو to collaborate with your friends. بتشتغل معاهم أو بتتعاون معاهم to write all the notes that will be very useful for you after that. You can write about your visit to the reserve for the project. You can take notes. ممكن تسجل notes to be useful for you after that. Okay, here is a picture for the nature reserve. Okay, after listening to the talk, answer the questions. Hey, after listening to this speech, we have to answer these questions together. Hey, what will frighten the animals and birds? Hey, what is the thing that can frighten the animals? إيه الشيء اللي هيخوف الانيمالز والبيردز? A lot of noise will frighten them. Hey, الدوشة الكثير. Where do the birds and animals live? هما بيعيشوا فين؟ Excellent. They live in the plants next to the road. هما بيعيشوا في النباتات أو في الباركس اللي حوالين الرود. So in the nature reserve. So you have to stick with your road. What must the birds and animals find? They have to أو they must find their own food. لازم يلاقوا أكلهم بنفسهم. They must find their own food. What must the students take with them when they leave? Excellent. They have to take أو they must take the rubbish. لازم ياخدوا القمامة اللي اتبقت منهم معاهم. What school work are the students going to do in the reserve? إيه السكول work المطلوب منهم؟ السكول task. Excellent. الproject. They are going to do a project. هيعملوا project. طيب after this we are going to move to another part, and according to me it's a very useful one because we can benefit from this advice in our life, in our social life, في حياتنا الاجتماعية. هو اللايف سكيلز أو السوشيال سكيلز، المهارات الاجتماعية اللي بنكتسبها during the unit. Here we have the collaboration. What is the meaning of the word collaboration? الcollaboration اللي هو the action of doing something or working with someone to do something or to make something or to achieve something. Okay? الكولابوريشن اللي هو working in a team work، العمل مع بعض with someone to do something، عشان تعمل حاجة أو تحقق حاجة. طيب أول حاجة you have to be إيه؟ you have to be cooperative. لازم تكون متعاون، شخصية متعاونة. okay? because our main goal as a team is to إيه؟ is to achieve our goal، نحقق هدفنا or to complete the mission successfully، نحققها بنجاح، not to be the winner or to be the best one in the team. تمام؟ we have to work together، لازم نشتغل مع بعض. when you collaborate with others، لما بتشتغل مع الآخرين you work as a group، you have to work in a group to do something. طيب choose the correct words to complete the rules بقى. Let's check the rules of the working in group. When you work together, you should ولا shouldn't forget why you are doing the activity. You should ولا shouldn't forget why you are doing the activity. Of course, you shouldn't forget why you are doing the activity. What are the main goal? إيه هو الهدف الرئيسي؟ Okay? Your goal, your aim. تمام؟ هدفك. تمام؟ بعد كده you must ولا mustn't listen to the other students' ideas. you have to إيه؟ Of course you have to listen. يبقى you must listen. لازم تسمع different points of view. لازم تسمع الآراء المختلفة. You should ولا shouldn't share your ideas with others. Of course you should. الشيرنج يا ولاد إن إحنا to exchange our opinions, to exchange our information، نتبادل الآراء والخبرات. Okay? يبقى you should. You shouldn't or must make all the decisions or rules yourself. You have to take all the decisions by your own self, by yourself. Of course not. You have to listen to the others. تمام؟ Maybe you are wrong. تمام؟ يبقى of course you shouldn't make all the decisions. You must ولا mustn't take turns. Of course you must take turns. You must take turns يعني إيه؟ يعني when you discover that you are wrong, it's not wrong to admit it, to say that I am wrong and I'm going to take turn. تمام؟ Okay. You shouldn't ولا should be angry with people you don't agree with. You shouldn't ولا should be angry. Of course you shouldn't be angry. Okay, we have to respect all the different points of view. I have to respect you even I'm against you، حتى لو أنا ضدك. طيب listening بقى. Plant a tree today. Here we have some steps to how plant a tree. تمام؟ الادلت do you want to help save our planet؟ حضرتك عايز تساعد في ان انت تنقذ البلانت بتاعنا او الكوكب بتاعنا. well plant a tree. the most simple او the simplest way to save our planet is to plant a tree. ازرع شجرة. trees help to keep our air healthy. بتساعد على ان الهواء يبقى صحي. you can plant a nut or the seed of a fruit. ممكن تزرع بذرة فاكهة. الchild what should I do first؟ طيب I have to start with what؟ لازم أبدأ بإيه؟ adult first wash an empty plastic pot. We have to wash an empty plastic pot and dry it. Secondly, put some small stones at the bottom of the pot. وبعد كده حط small stones أو أحجرة صغيرة في البوت. Then what should I do؟ إيه اللي المفروض أعمله بعد كده؟ Hey, then fill the pot with soil. Then after that you have to fill the pot with soil، يعني تملى الإناء اللي عندنا بالسويل أو بالتربة. Like this، زي كده. Yes, that's right. The next thing you do is press your finger into the soil. You have to press your finger into the soil to make a small hole عشان نعمل حفرة صغيرة inside the soil. How deep must it be؟ قد إيه عمقها المفروض يكون؟ Adult, it must be 2 centimeters deep. Now plant the seed in the hole and cover it with soil. وابدأ غطيه بالتربة. Finally, put the pot outside in a warm place. حط البوت بتاعك outside في مكان في الهواء الطلق. In a warm place في مكان دافئ. The seed needs sun, water to make it grow. محتاجة الشمس والمية عشان تبتدي to make it grow. Should I water it now؟ المفروض أبدأ أسقيها دلوقتي. Yes, now and every day. You have to start now and every day you have to water your plant. But don't give it too much water. It's going to grow big. When it grows too big for the pot, take it out. Take it out يعني خرجها من البوت الصغير of the soil and plant it in the ground. وابدأ ازرعها في الأرض. One day when it's a big tree, you can say I planted that. لما تشوفها قدامك شجرة كبيرة هتقدر ساعتها to be so proud of yourself and to say I planted this tree. أنا زرعت الشجرة دي. تمام؟ This conversation is a very good example of making what? Of giving instruction. يعني إعطاء التعليمات. Instructions اللي هي steps or the things that I can advise someone to do to achieve or to have a task. Okay. طيب بعد كده let's order بقى the pictures according to the order of the steps during according to the conversation. Number 1, of course, wash the pot. هنغسل البوت. Number 2, put some small stones in the pot. هنحط stones في البوت. 3, fill the pot with soil. هنملى البوت بالتربة. بعد كده number 4, put your finger in the soil to make a hole, to make a small hole. بعد كده put the seed in the hole and cover it with soil. يبقى دي number 5. We have to cover the seed with the soil. بعد كده number 6, put the pot in a warm place because it needs what? It needs sun and water. Number 7, start to water the plant or the seed every day. هنبدأ نرويها اللي هي picture C. هنبدأ نرويها كل يوم. بعد كده 8, take the plant and plant it in the ground. تمام؟ Okay. طيب let's choose the correct answer. Plants helps to keep our air, of course, healthy. تمام. بعد كده when you grow a plant you need a good soil, of course. محتاجة تربة كويسة. Plant the A in a hole and cover it with soil. احنا قلنا you have to make a small hole in the soil and to put A and cover it with soil. Of course, to put pot, إناء ولا water, seed or tree. Of course, you have to put the seed. The pot is A, there is nothing in it. When I have nothing inside something, يبقى it's A. It's filled, ممتلئ, ولا it's dirty, مش نظيف, ولا busy, يعني مشغول ولا empty؟ Of course يبقى the pot is empty. فارغ. There is nothing inside it. تمام؟ Okay. The earth is our plant, planet, plane or plan. الأرث إيه؟ plant نبات ولا planet, plane or plan طائرة ولا plan خطة؟ يبقى of course the earth is our planet. Be careful, there is a in front of you. There is a hole قاعة ولا a hole something which is complete, a whole thing ولا hole حفرة ولا wheel الwheel of a car أو العجلة. يبقى of course it is the hole letter 3 اللي معناها فجوة أو حفرة. Try to keep the plant in a place. Try to keep the plant in a, of course, warm, wool, cold. يبقى of course مش warm place مش دودة. It's a warm بالإيه دافئ. Okay. I think by answering this question نبقى we have covered all the parts in Unit 11. We have talked about using must and mustn't, we should and shouldn't, and now we can differentiate between them. We talked about how, we talked about all the steps or all giving instructions to give instructions to someone to do something. إن إحنا نقدر نعمل تعليمات. أخذنا life skills, collaboration, and we talked about the meaning of the word collaboration, to work with someone to achieve something, أو to work with someone to do something عشان تقدر تحقق حاجة. And we have covered all the things, all the important points in Unit 11. I hope that you got the session and that you got all the points and that you enjoyed the session. See you next time, inshallah. Bye.